Hello, everyone, my natty brothers and sisters. This is Untamed Locks. Welcome to the channel. So, I wanted to start something different. I've been doing some car videos here and there over the last couple of years. I made a video here recently talking about I'm going to do something probably a little different. I'm still going to do the car channel, but hopefully I'm actually going to make that a little bit better. Anyways, this is something completely different. This will be a channel dedicated to more freeform dreadlocks and to those who have questions about such. I mean, I know there's plenty of people like Zaylock, lazydread, knotNation, all the rest of them. Like, I've been watching them for years, even though I've never actively posted anything. I've been watching them for years. But I figured, I would put, a little bit of my 2 cents in because, even on my channel, my other channel, when I actually, posted the video about my locks or whatever, I had a couple people ask, not on YouTube, but like in person, or people that knew me more directly and that saw the video, and it was like, okay, why? I was like, well, it's something different. But they were like, no, but why do you call your dreadlocks, semi-freeform? I'm like, oh, well, for a lot of us, that have been locked for years or whatever, there's different classifications. And oh my God, I need to probably definitely have pets and blankets and kids and stuff. There's always Lent. So I actually probably need to talk about that in one of the future videos. But one of the things people ask me, they're like, why do you call your locks semi-freeform? Because if you look at them, they really are, almost completely true to freeform. Like, but in truth, the only reason I don't consider them full freeform is because I don't manipulate them as they grow. The only thing I do is tend to strengthen weakening sections. And I'm not going to say like they're weakening because my hair is thinning or anything, because that's not the case. It's actually really thick, which thank God. But it's the thinner locks that I've had over the years, because I did go from traditional twist to the freeform locks. And one of the things I've had has always been like these really tiny sections that I get like that. These really, really tiny sections that I get really prone to breaking. And compared to a lot of people that, freeform, where they just let it go, normally I'm actually pretty okay with that. I don't really care one way or the other. But I do try my best to keep all the locks as strong as I can keep them. Excuse me. But what I'll actually do, I will encourage I will encourage congos. So like right here, I don't really do anything really too invasive. It's kind of like a mild version of interlocking, where these locks right here are actually over here, and they're kind of going through the root bed of the other lock. So when I have locks like that, I'll actually combine them. So, that's the reason why I don't really consider mine true freeform, even though they're, for all intents and purposes, they're freeform, but they're not true because people's definitions, some people's true freeform, you don't do nothing with it. Other people's definition of freeform is exactly what my hair is. Some people's definition is God only knows. They basically mess with their hair, they'll manipulate it, they'll do certain things, but they really won't, say that they're, semi-freeform. They're like, oh yeah, I'm freeform. You're like, are you? Are you really freeform? Or are you more like semi-freeform? Or, what have you. Mine, for all intents and purposes, are true freeform, other than the fact that I will encourage Congos. Like I do encourage them, just because you know I've had locks over the years that actually get really thin. I used to twist them way back in the day, back in high school. Um, just because back in high school I had the whole peer pressure thing, trying to have dreads that looked all perfectly nice, and I started out with the better part of 100 and some odd dreads back then. Now I probably have considerably less, um, and honestly, I'm happier. I'm much happier now than I was then. When I was meticulously looking at every aspect of the hair, like, oh my god, is it perfectly round? Is it this way? Is it this? Once I got past all that, it changed the whole thing. Once I actually was just able to just accept my hair, let it grow, I became much happier with it. I didn't really care about these random small locks or these little ones right here, because I knew they were all going to lock up. I didn't care about how or what people thought of me, and it really changed. A lot of who I was at my core. It changed a lot of what I saw in my own self. It gave me like a unique sense of strength and pride and ability to go out in the world and actually do what I do best. Because I actually, obviously, as mentioned before, I work on cars. I'm actually a dyno operator by trade or by college. I went to school for it. I'm actually a professional tuner. I program cars. That's my thing. Um, but compared to a lot of mechanics or technicians, I don't fit the full bill of it. Um, I mean, but I did learn, over the time, going from traditional locks to more freeform, having, family stigma, having, whatever. One thing I will say to anybody that wants to, do freeform, go for it, do it. I mean, it's one of the most liberating, freeing things ever that I've ever personally done. Just embracing what, God has given me, who I really am, what I'm created to be. It's different. And I don't mean to make this video really long, and I know it's kind of like just a bunch of ideas coming together, but I did want to express the reason why I consider mine semi-freeform. Like sorry, my house is a mess. It's been a whole bunch of interesting scenarios all playing out around the same time. But, my hair, it is, for all intents and purposes, freeform. It's not manipulated. I don't really do anything with it. I wash, I go. The only thing I do that's not, true to freeform, why I will say that my locks are semi-freeform, is I do encourage Congos. So like right back here, I got another one I'm trying to encourage right here. And I don't do the rubber banding method. I don't do crochet needles. Each their own. If that's your choice, that's your choice. I don't like the damage that it does incur on the hair, on the locks. Like I love my locks so much better since I've gone, the freeform route versus actually, oh, I need to, meticulously twist them and everything. And I love these so much more. And even though, there's certain sections that I wish were a little bit stronger, even doing it this way and kind of not really interlocking them, but, kind of allowing the root beds to be forcefully joined. Um, it keeps me in that mindset that they're semi-freeform, because I know there's always gonna be that one person to come up and be like, oh my god, you did something. So it's more of, this. I'm like, well, I guess. But for me, these are freeform. These are about as freeform as you can get them to be, within reason of, a couple spots where I've encouraged Congos, like here. Can't wait to see what this one looks like when it fully grows out, because I've always had the whole really wispy hairs, which I've come to accept them because they're there. But you can see there's plenty of natural congos starting to form. I do just encourage certain ones that I know that are either more lost in the sauce, I guess you could say. They're just there and they have no plans to go anywhere. And then if they look like they're weaker or about to break, but I know I can easily save them more or less, I will definitely Congo them together. Um, I know some people that like to do the wick method. I'm not a fan of wicks. I've more deeply connected to the earlier, I grew up in the 90s. So within reason, when I first got my itch to get dreadlocks, I was roughly 13, 14. So like 2003, 2004. I got them when I was, 15 in 2005. Well, technically it was actually Christmas 2004, but I always say 2005 because it was 2 days before, because it wasn't really Christmas, it was after Christmas. It was like 2 days before New Year's when I actually got my locks installed, and they were just the comb coils. My cousin did them, and they were all the little perfectly even little all through my head, and I was like, okay, cool. Before that, I actually went to like there used to be a website called Perfect Dreadlocks that I don't think exists in the same light that they do now. And I remember back then they only highlighted a couple methods of like backcombing, crochet, or no, crochet didn't exist. Backcombing, comb coil, 2-strand twist, and another one. They had stuff like Dreadhead HQ, and you didn't really have YouTubers. You'd have the freeform brushes or whatever that you can find online nowadays. That didn't exist when I started mine. So and freeform stuff was a little bit more sparse. And, being I grew up on the poor side of town ish, dreads always had this negative stigma. Like you would see people and it was like, oh, you must be homeless or you must be poor and everything else. From a young age, I knew I wanted locks per se, not necessarily, but I knew I wanted them. And I always had an attraction to more of the natural looking ones versus the perfectly cylindrical ones. And I have pictures I can post it on knotNation's actual Reddit page, and um, you know, of like how my locks used to look. And now, by far, I love these. Now, like I said, they've been cut, they've been trimmed off. See, like something like this. This would be one I would actually encourage the Congo, but I actually haven't done nothing with yet. So normally, when it comes to freeforming, I won't really easily encourage a Congo unless I know it's absolutely like, you know what, it's in a section that has plenty of hair around it. I know it's probably gonna break. Eh. If it's something like this along my neckline or whatever, I leave it. I know guys that especially if they're more into, truly maintaining their hair, they'll actually have all this trimmed up. They won't have any of this, But for me, I really, really have grown to love my locks, and it's been a journey. Especially with me working on cars or whatever, it makes having locks a little bit more not messy, just a little bit more one of those things that when I'm working, I got to make sure they're either tied back or if they're down, just know they're gonna smell like every exhaust or whatever around easily. So I have to do certain things to kind of keep them clean, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. I knew my career plus the hair that I wanted was going to kind of clash anyways. But as long as you're prepared for something like that, it's cool. So, anyways, this is kind of like my, I guess, weird combination of thoughts, culmination of everything coming together. Getting this channel started, and I'm going to go back to my car channel eventually, but I did want to, at least start something. As far as, I don't I don't like the whole negative stigma that people do put on the different classifications, where some people look at traditional twisted locks or maintained locks as much better, or Wix being worse than freeform, and freeform being in its whole special thing. I do believe that lock culture all together should be, more united. We're all equally in the thing. The difference is how we go about our locks. I personally like freeform. I love the whole culture, especially with the Rastas. Um, Although I'm not a Rasta by far. Um, I'm a Christian nonetheless, but I'm not a Rasta. Um, just because the difference in belief system. I'm definitely a Christian. I have nothing to say bad about the Rasta faith, and belief system, but it's not me. But you know, but when it comes to locks, I love the freeform method. I love what's behind it. But the reason why I consider mine semi-freeform, the whole core reason of this video, is I guess interlock, or whatever you call it. I forget what this is actually technically called. I think it's interlocking, where you actually kind of not necessarily forcefully merge them together, but you do forcefully merge them, but you just kind of merge them into the most forceful, lazy way. You just slip one through and then let it grow. That's it. That's all I'm doing. So mine are freeform, but they're semi-freeform. So that's it. That's it. This is my first introduction video. It's kind of long, kind of drawn out. Hopefully, if you like the video, hit me a like. If you have any questions about my hair or anything else, leave a comment down below. That's really about it. Big shout out to knotNation, Zaylock23. Oh my God, lazydread. There's so many of them. I know none of these guys will probably actually see this video just because, but I've been a fan of theirs for years, and I've had my locks since 2005. So they've been an inspiration for me to actually go from traditional locks to this. This is only progress since 2017. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Hit the like button, and I'll hopefully see you next time.